You know, the internet never ceases to amaze me with the absolute garbage they choose to get excited over. And you don't need to look any further than the massive multi-million person circle jerk going on right now over Elden Ring. Yes, Elden Ring. As horrible and dull as that sounds, this is the game that people have chosen to get their dicks erect and their panties wet over. This is the latest love child of the internet, much like the entire Soulsborne genre of games. It's like these games are impervious to flaws, and if you dare point out a legitimate criticism with it, the entire fan base attack you like rabid dogs, like little crybabies who can't stand being told that other people can point out legitimate flaws within something they enjoy. They just have to be right. It's like someone's trying to take away their cookie and they're gonna go throw a fit in the corner. Fucking babies, I tell you, every single one of these Soulsborne fans. Elden Ring, and by further extent, every single Dark Souls, Sekiro, Demon Souls, all the same trash. It's regurgitated. They literally plop the same gameplay mechanics down with an overabundance of difficulty and a very underwhelming amount of creativity. I mean, if you want to break down the Souls games as to what they really are, let's examine that, shall we? They're stupidly difficult Souls-like games that suck away your satisfaction. Every step you take forward in that game, you feel your life force as a human being drained, because you know that the only thing that awaits you is hours upon hours of absolute frustration against unfairly difficult enemies. That is it. That is the entire Soulsborne genre of games in a nutshell. Now, why do people like this? I don't know, man. There's people that are into getting tied up with whips and shit and getting smacked around. I'm not saying there's a correlation there, but if you like abuse, this is the type of shit you play. All right? I mean, again, the entire main appeal, the entire main mechanic of the game is to piss you off. FromSoftware legitimately has deals. Look it up. It was leaked a couple of years ago. They have deals with Sony and Microsoft to sell more controllers, because it is a proven fact that people who play Dark Souls, Demon Souls, people who play Sekiro, people who play these types of games smash at least 5 of their controllers per playthrough. They are boosting controller sales for Microsoft and Sony, and they're getting their piece of the pie. You can best believe that. All right? But FromSoftware does nothing for the gaming industry. I mean, FromSoftware, even in that name, FromSoftware, more like fake-ass software. All they do is hit copy and paste on their games. That is it. As soon as they saw that people were starting to buy their trash, they immediately decided to monetize it to hell and gone, and they will milk away until you people wisen up and stop paying them for this trash. All right? You seriously, wake up, Souls fans, because these games are not worth it. These games are not worth your hard-earned money. These games aren't worth a pot to piss in. I would not play a Dark Souls game if I was torn between choosing that and never playing games again. That's how awful these games are. The game's main mechanic, oh, the difficulty. You gotta be so good in order to beat it. You have to actually put work in. It's a bad lie. It is a horrible joke. The games are unbeatable unless you swear and slave away a month of your life to learn the attack patterns of uncreative enemies that are ripped straight from Lovecraft and every generic dark fantasy movie and TV show ever. There's nothing unique about these enemies. People praise the designs. I see better designs drawn by 5-year-old children who don't care about anything but sugar and recess. All right? Now, I'm a fair person, all right? Dead Metal recognizes that there are two sides to every coin. People say that the games are difficult, but when you finally get to the end, it all comes full circle. It's all worth it. You have to beat the game. It's like experiencing Nirvana. Well, here's actually the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've always given you the truth, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. People legitimately compare beating a Dark Souls game to the most mind-blowing orgasm, the most earth-shattering nut they've ever had. But really, It's more like getting punched in the dick and getting a pole shoved up your ass. Now, hey, I'm sure a lot of you are probably into that, and I don't kink shame. But that stuff is not mainstream for the same reason that Dark Souls isn't mainstream, people. Punishment is not generally accepted as a good thing. You might like your whips and your paddles and your handcuffs and your fur and your costumes and God knows what else, just like you might enjoy sitting down for hours a day getting pummeled by unfairly difficult enemies. But the rest of us, the majority of the population and my people in general, the individuals with an IQ above 300, we don't waste our time. We can recognize right away the unfairness of Dark Souls, the absolute ridiculousness that is its enemy attack patterns, and we see the same trail, the same shit happening to Elden Ring. It's a pattern, all right? You want to talk about learning your enemy's attack patterns? Why don't you learn your enemy from Software's monetization schedule with these releases? Because there's a pattern there designed to milk you dry for everything you've got, and it's not worth it. The best thing you can do, instead of playing one soldier against an army in a Souls game where you have to counter and dodge your enemy's attacks, are going to be to just avoid these games altogether, because that in and of itself will deal a massive amount of damage, a crushing blow to From Software's profits, and make sure that we never see trash like Elden Ring released ever again. But the Souls fanboys will buy it in droves. It's up to the minority of legitimate gamers such as myself left to boycott this absolute pile of dilapidated dog shit, refuse it, shove a middle finger in the air directed at one entity, From Software, and tell them once and for all that your games are not meant to be played by real gamers because they're difficult. They're unfairly and obscenely difficult because you guys are gluttons for punishment and you absolutely suck.